Am I doing, how long am I doing this little relaxation thing?
So you've got, 15, 20 minutes. That's okay.
Okay. Hi, friends. Are we waiting for more people to come on, or?
I'd like to thank everyone for the turnout. This is probably the largest I've seen everyone this semester.
Are you making a comment about my eating habits at home?
No, I meant we don't usually have this many people come to the assembly.
I've been eating nothing but cookies since school started.
Chavo, you look beautiful all the time, always.
With my cookie eating? It's
yes,
really
especially that.
Yeah.
There's nothing more attractive than someone who knows how to eat.
I'm obsessed with cookies too. That's my...
It's been pretty bad.
Yeah.
I feel bad. I ate all of Jesse's cookies.
Where is Jesse? Is he still on campus? Is he gonna Zoom in tonight?
Also, your hair disappeared for a second there.
Probably. I don't really know.
So if you want to give like another 2 minutes to just see who else comes in, because we all know that we work on island time, and then go ahead and get started.
I don't have any makeup, so I'm just going to draw a portrait of myself with makeup.
That sounds perfect.
I don't know why I'm going into a STEM major. I'm obviously like completely wired differently, but I'm just like, no. STEM it is.
Literally me as a senior, so like maybe maybe I should have thought about this.
Sabrina, don't call me out like that.
I'm like, why did I do this?
You know, when you draw enough self-portraits, you like realize things about your like just the shape of your head. And it's really weird because I'm just like, wow, I have a really wide head, like in comparison to like a regular circle. Like it's not a circle anymore. It's like an ellipse that you have to do. And like there's nothing wrong with it. That's actually very natural. But like when you're drawing, you realize that the basic shapes can just like go out the window because you're just like, what's the point?
Exactly.
So instead of drawing a circle, you draw an oval, and the oval is a little bit squared on the tips. That's completely fine. And then when you draw the jawline, you think that it would be a rounded square, but it's not. It's just another circle.
Y'all want to say hi to Nick Dominic on Snapchat and I'll send it to him?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, go.
Hi! Love you.
That was good. Thank y'all.
I saw him for my physics exam today. Our Zoom had 85 participants. It's the biggest Zoom yet. Yeah.
Je voudrais pas mentir.
Y'all, I have this desk lamp like right close to me and I'm already sweating.
It's like having a ring lamp, you know, like a beauty guru on YouTube.
It is. Like, I understand why they be sweating in these makeup tutorials. Like, Jesus Christ.
I've managed to fuck up the oval.
Yeah, this beauty lifestyle is not for me. I will be returning to watching The Walking Dead after this.
Just want to be an advocate of like exercising in time of COVID-19, not because like I'm an exercise freak, which I totally am, but mostly because nobody else is out there and it's really weird. It feels like you're running after the apocalypse.
Oh my God.
It's very weird.
All right. Danny's giving me the cue to go ahead and start. Sorry, y'all. One second. All right, so are we starting off the meeting like doing introducing anything, or are we just jumping into it?
Do we want to do the elections first?
Let's
Oh,
do
we
the
can, yeah.
relaxation first.
Relaxation. Okay, we'll do that too. All right, cool. So I'm gonna show you guys a reference photo of what I'm doing today. All right, looks like this. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yeah.
I'm not as talented, so we're gonna do that, but for dummies. So, I don't know if you guys like carve out your eyebrows and do all of that, which I do, but I feel like that's unnecessary because I'm gonna wipe this off later. So you can start off with like your basic like eye primer. This one is NK makeup. You can get it at like a beauty supply store, whatever. Elf has pretty good eye primers. So does Too Faced, but that's more of like on the expensive side. So I understand if you don't want to buy that. But yeah. So I'm just literally gonna do one eye. Not gonna go crazy. So first, I usually, because I just put on some primer, I'm gonna set my eye with a translucent powder. So you can do one that's your shade, or you can do a translucent powder, and usually the loose ones are better to start off with. So you can either, I use the Maybelline Fit Me, or another super inexpensive drugstore brand is Airspun. I know if you haven't seen a YouTube ad for this, then I don't know what. But I'm gonna use the Airspun today simply because I'm going for like a more colorful look, and I don't want to mix my Fit Me with it because my skin tone is brown, and then I don't want the brown to mix with the colors. So I'm just gonna set my eye area, and I'm using a fluffy blending brush. This is just the Elf Cosmetics. It's the vegan, non-cruelty. But of course you can use whatever you'd like, whatever brushes you have in the moment. Now that I set that, you can see my eye has just like a little bit of faint pigmentation, and that's just because I'm not pale white. So, but that's gonna go away in a second. So, since we're doing Pride themed, we're gonna start off with getting, sorry, I'm looking for my brush. We're gonna start off by packing on the lightest color first. So we're gonna start off with the yellow, and we're gonna put it in the inner corner first. So I'm gonna use this palette. I know you guys probably won't have the same one, but it's the Take Me to Brazil palette by BH Cosmetics. If you guys don't, there's several other very, very cheap brands that you can use. The same eye primer that I use, the NK makeup brand that you can find at like Solid Gold or any beauty supply store. They have these little mini packs where it's filled with like a bunch of color, and I think these were like $3.99, something super cheap. And you can use, this one is called Under the Sea. It has like a yellow and your various like pride colors. And then there's one called Poison Apple that has like red colors. And then Autumn Spice. Hey, Autumn Spice. And that's more of like your neutral tones and like your tones like that. So instead of going into the Take Me to Brazil palette, I'm gonna go into the Under the Sea palette with this yellow. And the reason I say that is just because the pigmentation is just a little bit better. So I'm gonna go with this top one right here and put it on a flat brush. That way I can pack it in, and then just go in with that color in the inner corner. Just like that. And then I'm gonna just keep dipping in and packing it. until it's about like a third of the way. So you can break it up into like your eye into 3. So the inner corner is the first finger, second finger, third finger. And I'm just packing in that yellow. And once you get it up to a consistency that you like, I'm pretty sure you guys can see that. Or to, it's all thick enough for you, then you can go into your second color, and you always want to blend. You want to follow the Roy G. Biv rule. We don't want to blend like a yellow into a blue. So we're going to go into an orange color. And for this one, I'm not going to use this palette or the other Autumn Spice palette. I'm actually going to go into this, the Take Me to Brazil. And the reason I say that is because the pigmentation on these is also pretty good, but just it's not so bright to where I can't blend it. So like the other ones have really, really harsh oranges, and I don't want to blend a light yellow into like a harsh orange. So I'm going to take another flat brush. Here we go. Another flat brush. And you can use the same brush. You really don't have to mix it because you're going from a lighter to a darker shade. So it's, in this case, you can literally just like wipe off your brush and go on to the next color. So I'm going to take this orange right here. It looks a little different on the camera, but it's kind of like a paler orange, and I'm gonna pack that into the center. And don't worry if it looks really, really harsh right now, we're gonna blend this out later. So I'm just taking that and putting that in the middle, leaving the outer part space so I can put my red later on. All right, so we see we have a transition from yellow to orange going on right there. And then after that, we're gonna go into a red. And for this one, I'm actually gonna use the NK Poison Apple. And we're doing the same thing. We're just packing on that color, the red color, into the outer corner of the eye now to fill in that little gap. I'm gonna use the same brush because I feel like it's not too much of a difference. I'm gonna using this red color. I know it's coming off as like super bright and weird. Oh, there we go. Yeah. And whenever you're blending this, you don't want to blend all the way up to your brow bone because you want to leave that section apart because we're going to do some blending later. So you don't want to fill that in necessarily, but just do it a little bit above your lid and then stop at the halfway point between your lid and your brow bone. I'm kind of dragging this color out just a little bit. And then we'll go on to the bottom. Well, in a second. But yes, we're going on to the bottom. Okay, so since we did our light colors at the top, we're doing our darker colors at the bottom. And this one, you want to get not a packing brush, so not the flat brushes that I've been using, but more of a brush kind of like this, where it's really, really short. This one is a smudge brush, and it's mostly used for like your bottom lid, or not your bottom lid, but I guess your under eye. And then you're gonna take a green color. So I'm using the Take Me to Brazil palette. I'm gonna use this lightest shade of green, and I'm gonna take that, put this on the smudge brush, and I'm gonna put this on my inner corner of my eye, but on the bottom. So right here. And I'm being careful to not drag it down too much because I don't want to create it where I have like this draggy situation going on where I start looking like Harley Quinn. Yeah, so once we pack that on, that was pretty easy to pack on the green because it's really, really, the green pigment that I have is really opaque. And so after that, I'm gonna wipe off my brush. Go ahead and do that. Okay, so after that, we're gonna take this same smudge brush and we're gonna go into like a lighter blue. We don't wanna use too deep tones on the bottom in the inner corner because then it creates an effect that you'll have like dark circles under your eye. So we're gonna take this lightest shade of blue. Gonna put that on the smudge brush just at the tip. And then we're gonna put that in the middle, right after the green. All right, sorry, I'm making like really weird faces whenever I do this. So we see the yellow to orange to red, and then on the bottom we see the green and the blue. And so now we're gonna take a purple color with this same smudge brush. I'm gonna wipe it off a little, take that blue off. And we're gonna go into some purple. So for the purple, I'm gonna go into the same palette, Take Me to Brazil. And we're gonna do a almost magenta type shade purple. And we're putting this in the outer corner, but on the bottom. So just like you did the other ones, pack it on there. And then with this one, you're gonna be really careful and you're gonna blend this red into this orange using this smudge brush. So you're gonna drag it out all the way into the tip of the orange. The red, I'm sorry. And then, since it's not blended out all the way, we're gonna take that flat brush that we use. Here we go. We'll take the flat brush that we use for the red, and then we'll go over that and try to blend those two. Just like that, going over the red again. And I'm gonna go back and build up some more intensity in the colors. And then at the very last point, I'm gonna take a fluffy blending brush and I'm gonna smudge out blend out these harsh edges. That way it won't be so harsh at the top. So I'm going in with the red, building intensity. Then going in with that orange in the middle. And then lastly, intensifying up the yellow. Okay, once you reach this point and you have all your colors laid out, you're gonna take this fluffy blending brush. It shouldn't have any pigment on it or anything. And you will blend out the edges. So you're just doing a sweeping motion across your brow bone. And as you can see, some of the color is gonna kind of bring up. And that's why we were leaving that part open, because we didn't want to blend too much color into one another. And you see it kind of blends out.
Nice.
And then that's pretty much
Oh,
the final look. You can either add eyeliner or mascara. I think I'm just gonna add mascara at the end of this, but it'd be really cool if you added like a maybe a color eyeliner to that. That'd be really, really cool. I think I have a green one, but I'm not trying to be that extra right now. But yes, you can just add some mascara, finish up the look.
See you finishing up the look.
All right, and then for the final touch, this is the last step, I promise. to add this step, even if it doesn't even look good at this point, once you add this step, it's gonna look good. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because this brow bone highlight and this inner corner highlight, once you add that, you look like you just got your makeup done by Kim Kardashian herself. Maybe not her, but maybe her makeup stylist, but whatever. So I'm gonna use some bright shade that I have. I have this Tartelette palette. There's a lot of other super bright shades. And to take me to Brazil, we have like a whiter shade. So we have a whiter shade at the bottom and another whiter shade over here. You can use one of those, but you can either highlight it with a super light gold or a white in the corner and on the brow. But since I'm of like a deeper skin tone, I'm gonna use a goldish color. But if you have lighter skin, then you can use the white, of course. And I'm gonna take this, sorry, palette's all broken up, but I'm gonna take that shade in the corner. It's called Funny Girl, in case you guys were wondering. And I'm just gonna take it on this really, really thin brush. And I'm just gonna dig into it just a little bit. And I'm going to put that in my inner corner. And you see that? Ooh, you see? You see what I was talking about? So you're just gonna put that in your inner corner, a little bit on the bottom, a little bit on the top. Make sure you're not blending away that yellow when you're doing that. And then you're gonna do the same thing on your brow bone. I didn't do my brows, so let's not talk about it, but you're gonna put it on your brow bone and just kind of accentuate that. And then boom, you see that? Okay. Y'all make me want to do my whole makeup. But yeah, so you're just gonna accentuate that brow bone by just putting a light dust of gold right there. You could also use white either way, but I think the gold just kind of makes it look a little bit more natural. And at this point, if you wanted to add like any eyeliners or anything, then you could, but this is pretty much the look. What y'all think?
I didn't know you could be hotter than you already were. Guess what?
I like it. It's so nice, so
love
pretty.
it. Yours looks so good.
Hey.
Mine looks a little weird because I didn't have all those colors. And
Yeah, but I like it. I see.
Great.
This is really fun. Yay! I'm glad you guys liked it. Now I'm gonna take this off.
Yay,
I just
pride.
made the worst self-portrait of myself trying to do that shit.
Wait, can we see it?
Sure. I think I got the eyes wrong. Oh, never mind.
no.
Camera said no. Camera says no.
Undo your virtual
Uh,
background.
There we go.
drawing himself.
There you go.
Russell, we can't
Amazing.
see you.
Ugh, I got the nose wrong too.
Danny, we can't see you.
I did not do this. I'm so sorry.
Danny
I'm gonna let y'all
disappeared.
know. For me, this brought up some weird like PTSD type stuff. I don't do well with makeup, but I am very happy that it gives other people a very relaxing space.
So sorry, Danny.
No, stop. No, it's just makeup just isn't my thing. You know, so I really appreciate you doing this. How many of y'all found this to be really relaxing? Yeah. I will say, like, I end up sitting next to Kristen, who watches tons of these makeup tutorials, and it is mesmerizing. I mean, I do love watching people do makeup. So thank you so much for taking time out to not only learn how to do this, but it takes a lot to teach others how to do it. So awesome. Thanks, Sabrina.
Thank you.
No problem. Y'all are so nice.
Marissa, do you want to talk about elections?
I do. And we have enough people here, so I think I'll just do heads down and hands up. Can you stop recording this for the sake of anonymity?
Yes, I'm going to pause.
Okay.
All right, so we got elections taken care of. Thank you. We'll post those on social media as well, I assume. And so I'm going to go ahead and start sharing, or if you could share your screen, that'd be good. You see how to do it? Yeah. All right. And just so you know, we're going to be holding the next couple weeks, we're going to hold these awesome PRISM videos. So PRISM was the LGBTQ leadership conference that we were going to have this spring. Instead of doing it in person, because we can't, we are hosting some of the video or some of the workshops that would have been hosted during that conference. We're going to hold them online. Each time we have one of the people who did their video, they're going to be on the chat to answer any kind of questions that come up afterwards. All right, we'll go ahead and go.
Jeff, you're muted.
Hello?
So
There we go.
it's actually going to be a video that
Yeah.
Jeff has already done.
Yeah.
Maybe
Can
we
you
need
hear
to...
it?
No, we can't.
Okay, I don't.
Okay.
I'm the worst at computers. Okay.
We had this problem before when I was showing y'all the office.
If needed, what we can do is I can easily follow along. If we need me to present just like this, I can definitely do that.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, I can definitely do it.
Okay. I'm just gonna play it from the beginning then.
Okay. It might be weird with timing, but I'll just kind of, because I don't know when the cues are with it, but so if anything, maybe we can keep it paused and just kind of go in. Does it give like a little preview of what the next like minute's going to look like? Yeah, so we can do that. Okay, so howdy everyone. My name is Jeff, and I'm here to talk to you about how to jump out of the closet into a career. I wish I had had more time to focus on this because there are so many other things that I really wanted to add into this presentation, but with the time given, I decided to focus on three main things. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and get on to the next slide. So just a little bit about myself. My name is Jeff English, and let me put my video on here. One thing you will notice though is there no longer is a beard on my face, but I'm still the same Jeff English here with you today. My background is I'm actually not from Texas. I am actually originally from Arkansas, graduated from Arkansas Tech University with a bachelor's and master's degree. And I've been with Texas A&M Galveston over the last 2 years. Originally started in admissions and moved up to now being your career service coordinator. Fun facts, I am an Aggie ally. I will always have an open door policy for you in my office anytime you need support. And some of my pronouns, he, him, his, and my hobbies are reading, spending time with my German Shepherd and 2 cats, which is a handful, constantly 24/7, and anything outdoors, which has not been happening a lot recently, but for good reasons, of course, staying indoors and trying to stay home as much as possible. And before I actually dive into this presentation, I do want to talk to you about career services. I'm sure many of you already know about what we offer on our campus, but for those that don't, we do offer career counseling. Career counseling, what is that? If you are confused about what you are wanting to pursue with your major, we can help you with that. If you are confused about what major you want to actually study, we can help you with that. We can even get you a career assessment quiz that you'll answer. It takes about a half an hour, and it asks you very specific questions you might be afraid to ask yourself about what you want to do for a living. But we can help pick your brain a little bit and help get those questions answered. We can also do that virtually. Anything that I'm about to go over with you, we can do virtually as well. We have that technology now. You can either be via email, phone, or with Zoom. But we can help you with your resumes and your cover letters and your CVs. Those are all very important, which I will dive a little bit more into talking about resume building for you in this presentation. And we can also help you find jobs and internships, which is the most important thing, because many of you are going to college to help find a better job. And my job is to help make that process easier for you, because I want all of you to have jobs by the time you graduate. And next slide, please. All right, so Again, the three topics that I'm covering for you today, I feel are the most important. And this one in particular, I think is one of the most important ones, looking at LGBTQ friendly companies. All right, next slide, please. The one thing I'm always gonna say to you as your career service coordinator is that I think you need to ask yourself, what values do you consider when looking at jobs? And I just saw that values was misspelled, so apologize for that. But what values do you consider when looking at jobs? As your career service coordinator, I am always going to tell you, I'm always going to voice my opinion that you should find a job, you should find a company and a business that makes you happy 100%. Now, I know, and this is something that I'm not really going to be able to say I'm in the same shoes as you, because just a little bit more background about myself. I am straight. I'm not a part of the LGBTQ community. I am an ally, and I will never know how challenging that is for you. But I've tried my best to put myself in your shoes. So to prepare for these slides that you're about to see, I've tried to do my best to do as much research as possible, as well as speaking with Danny as much as possible as well. But before you apply for a job, you need to know if you want to work for a friendly company or business that is for human rights, for the LGBTQ community. That's very important, because as we all know, there are progressive businesses and companies out there, but there are also more conservative ones that might not be on board for human rights. And something that I've read in different texts is that you're going to hear different things. One, you need to work for places that do make you, happy. Or two, maybe you've been told that in order to build your career, you have to hide who you are truly. And that's up to you. So when you're doing your research, you need to be looking for specifics with these businesses and companies. So just an example, the bottom 5 pictures you see here are Southwest, Tesla, Charles Schwab, Shell Oil, and BP Oil. All of those are LGBTQ friendly companies. But how did I figure that out? So what we'll do is just real quick over the next few slides, you'll see some mission statements. And then once we're out of the mission statements, and I'll continue talking. So go ahead and go to the next one. So what you're seeing here as they're going through, that these are just mission statements. On Google, it is a simple Google search. I typed in each of these companies with LGBTQ, and this is what popped up. Or I typed in mission statement. And all of these companies have text on their websites for individuals looking for jobs. It is that simple. Now, some of those, for example, I believe one of them, and we'll hold it right here. One of those, we'll go ahead and go past the Charles Schwab. If it doesn't have a mission statement, they might not have a specific mission statement for the LGBTQ community, but that doesn't mean that there's not text on there. So let's say that you come across a page for, let's say, Target. You type in LGBTQ, nothing pops up. You can go to their human resources page, look for more text, and then on your keyboard, click Control F, which is for find. Type in keywords. It is that easy. So for a couple of those, I actually had to do that because nothing was popping up in my search. So I went to their main website, into their search bar, got a little bit more deeper in there looking for stuff. Once I found it, all I did was a simple Control F. But ways to find these friendly companies: one, you can reach out to your local LGBTQ associations, because a lot of them have already been in touch with a lot of those companies and businesses nearby, and they can help you with that process of looking for a job. You can go to the Human Rights main page online and check out their Corporate Equality Index, which is updated yearly. Third, a simple Google search, but the most important one is check the company's website. If you were thinking, I wonder if they are going to be supportive of myself, are they going to be supportive of me having a partner? Is my partner going to have insurance with me? Those are questions that you need to be asking yourself. Because don't ever assume that going in to work for a company that they're going to be supportive of you. Unfortunately, that's not the world we live in. So if it is important to you, the lesson from this is that you need to do your research. This is going to be a little bit more challenging for those in the LGBTQ community, because you have to consider the fact that, you know, you might or will come across prejudice. And you need to be kind of mentally preparing yourself for that. So when you decide to start looking for a job outside of college or even a part-time job, what values are you looking for? Do you want to work for a company or business that is going to support you with that company? Or are you fine with going to work someplace that might not be supportive of you and you feel like you have to hide who you truly are? All right, next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, so your resume. What I'm about to talk to you about right now is it's going to kind of be both for the LGBTQ community, but also universal. This isn't just one thing. Your resume is you on a piece of paper. Whatever you put on that resume, you have to be ready to discuss it with the individual that's getting that piece of paper in front of them. Okay? So whatever you're about to put down on your resume, you have to be able to discuss it. This is for everybody. Next slide, please. All right, so some tips. What questions should you be asking yourself? Do I come out on my resume? How can I come out on my resume? And a lot of what I'm getting from the answers that or my opinion that I'm gonna give you are things that I kind of got from Your Queer Career by Riley Foltz III. Now, there were some things in his book that I was not necessarily on board 100%, but I think what he was doing in that book, in his text, is he was trying to tell you everyone's going to be different with what you do. So do you come out on your resume, and how can you come out on your resume? Next slide, please. So with that, how do you come out on your resume? It's not you just putting saying exactly like in a paragraph who you are like that. It's about what text you're putting in your resume. So of course you're going to have the same things as everyone else. You're going to have your education, your work experience, achievements, etc., yada, yada, yada. But let's say that you did your research. You know the company that you're applying for is all for human rights. They have equal rights for everybody. Your partner is going to be supported, etc. Then yeah, you want to make sure that you put down if you've been a part of that association for the LGBTQ community. It's the exact same with your achievements, etc. Did you hold a position in one of those associations? Were you president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, etc.? You need to put those down. Those are accomplishments. They're going to help build your resume up, but it's also showing that you are dedicated and that you care about something so much that you were doing more. You were putting yourself more out there. So yes, include that work experience, and this is something and I think this is something Riley was doing, so you thought about it. You need to be prepared, because if you do send your resume to a company that is more conservative and they see your resume and they look, it's like, oh, well, we see that they were part of this association here. We're not a part of that. And they take it out. That could happen. And unfortunately, it has happened. And that's why the first slide, the first topic I covered with you is so important, because I will always tell you, I think you need to be applying for jobs that are going to make you happy, where you're not going to have to hide who you truly are. Because a lot of those that are in these associations, they are in that association for a specific reason. They are fighting for what they believe in, which they know is right. They are in this association to help others come out. They want to help them any way they can. And that is leadership. You want to showcase that leadership. You want to showcase if you were given an achievement award for an LGBTQ organization. Be yourself. But unfortunately, I have to say that if you are an individual that wants to work for a company that is more conservative, you have to consider that you might not be able to put these things down in your resume. How does that make you feel? That's what I think you need to ask yourself. Does that make you sad, thinking that you would not be able to share these accomplishments with the world to help enlighten everybody else around you that might not have known about these organizations? That's a question you have to ask yourself. And again, I have to say it again, broken record, you can't assume that the business or company that you're applying for a job to is going to be supportive of you. You have to do your research. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is pretty much what I just covered, but anything you put on your resume is open game for an employer, whatever you put down. So for example, and I don't know if many of you have come across this yet, but once you do start applying for more jobs that are, more full-time, you're going to be sending them your resume. And when you actually do the application, it's going to tell you, oh, please upload your resume. You click upload. You're like, yes, that was quick. That was easy, painless. And then it's going to ask you, please type out your resume and all these things. Type in your references. It's a lot. But sometimes, they ask little questions like, what are some of your hobbies? And one time, I put down for hobbies, I like karaoke. And I was like, they're never going to ask me that. Sure enough, I was in the office of a president of a university, and he said, and he saw it. He said, so I see you like karaoke, Jeff. Can you please elaborate on that? I'm like, I like to sing. I like Eminem a lot. But I had to talk about it because I put it on my resume. And that was just, I was like, oh, they put hobbies. I'll definitely put karaoke down. But anything you put down is open game for them. If you are afraid to talk about something, you need to practice it now. But also, do not lie in your resume. Okay? Do not lie. Don't just try to buff it up, throwing something in there, because let's say you add something in there saying that you're bilingual, and you're really not. You just know the bare minimum. That is not bilingual. I have known individuals that have done that, and they have they kind of messed up big time, because a lot of times, if you say you're bilingual, they're going to test you on the spot. And if you cannot speak the language you say you can speak, you're probably not going to get that job. So don't lie. Be confident in your resume. Know what you're about to talk about. Know every section of it. Practice in the mirror. Talk to yourself. Talk to a friend, family member. Call me. Talk to me on Zoom. I will listen to you. I will watch you, and I will help you be better prepared. Next slide, please. Coming out. This is something that I will never experience. I will not know what this is like for those that have come out. For those that are on here, if you have, I just want to say that is amazing, because I can only imagine how hard that was. And again, I'm not going to know how it feels. I can only imagine. So, but I tried to put myself in your shoes to better help you with this process of coming out with an employer. Next slide, please. Coming out at work. Every job you accept will be a new coming out experience for you. I never thought about that, period. It never occurred to me that every job that you will ever have could be a coming out experience for you. You're not just coming out once, you are coming out multiple times. So I really want you to prepare yourself mentally now. Is this something that you want to do? Is that, who will you tell if you come out at work? Where are you going to tell them? Are you going to tell them in the office? Are you going to tell them at happy hour after work? How will you tell them? And you also have to remember this. We've all played the telephone game, right? You whisper something into someone's ear, it comes out different on the end. So if you tell one person, that one person might tell somebody else. And in a way, you are coming out to other people, but it's not from you. So this is why it's important. It's how you present yourself at work, and what you talk about. Are you going to talk about your weekend? Are you going to talk about your vacation that you had with your significant other? Are you going to have pictures up in your office or your cubicle, or etc.? Your social media, all of that comes together. So I think it should be on your terms what you do. It's up to you if you come out at work. And again, you need to start prepping yourself mentally for that. Next slide, please. Questions to ask yourself about coming out at work as well. How do you find allies within that company or business? It's simple. You can reach out to human resources, and maybe, let's say you don't feel like you're getting enough answers from human resources. You can also reach out to your local LGBTQ associations in that area. But it's that simple. And questions you could ask. You could ask HR. It's like, oh, are there any groups here that are part of the LGBTQ community where I can help with outreach, etc.? I mean, it's that simple. Just ask those questions. But who do you connect? Then who do you contact if you have negative feedback after coming out? Well, one, you're going to want to talk to HR, but then also you can get local LGBTQ associations involved. If there's more happening. But again, I want you to be able to use your resources. That's why it's so important. And it's the circle of life here. We're coming back to the first part of this presentation is you should probably start looking for jobs that are going to be more for you, that can be actually supportive of who you are as a human being. We all deserve respect, and we all deserve respect. I want all of you to be happy with where you're working. I want all of you to have a positive experience. I want all of you to, when you wake up, you go to work thrilled. You're going to work, you're happy. You're not going to have to hide what you did over the weekend, who you were with, etc. So again, it all comes back to your job search. Is that what values do you hold as an individual? What are you looking for in an employer? Next slide, please. Now, this is pure opinion, and I've already pretty much stated it, why you should come out at work, Jeff's opinion. Be yourself and be comfortable in your work environment. We spend so much more time at at work than we do at home with our significant others, our pets, our family members, which means we need to have a positive experience when we go into work. I have had quite a few jobs where I hated it. I went in just for the money. I needed to make a living, which sometimes you have to do that. But the end game for me though was finding a job, finding an employer that I really liked, and I found that with Texas A&M Galveston. I found that in admissions, though there were more negatives with me in that position than positives, and then I found career services, which it's been nothing but positives. And this is a big positive for me right now, getting to speak with all of you, because this is something that I've wanted to do more for the LGBTQ community, and I just want to thank Aggie Pride for that opportunity, and it makes me happy to go into work. But I'm going to quote the great Danny Rowe real quick. Job satisfaction can impact more than morale, but also productivity. Basically, when you're a better you, the company thrives. So if you're going into work a happier person, you're working for a company that is supportive of who you are, you're going to do better with your job. And your productivity levels are going to be up. You're going to be happy. You're going to be smiling. It's those positives. Next slide, please. All right, so contact information for me. Things are a little bit weird still. I am working remotely, and clearly I'm in my truck right now on my phone doing this. No office hours like that, but digital. I'm all digital right now. Email, phone, Zoom. If you don't want to see my face, you don't want to talk to me over Zoom, I will give you my cell phone number and we can talk. I will ask that you don't give that number out to people, but I will chat with you over the phone or Zoom, or you can email me. But again, because of the coronavirus, I will need you, if you do want to set something up with me, just send me an email, whether it be career counseling, if you just need someone to talk to about major changes, resumes, cover letters, I'm going to be there for you 100%. And that is the end of my presentation. And I know we're going to open it up for questions if we have any.
Thank you so much, Jeff. That was really awesome. I know there's like questions that I was had kind of had before, and that kind of answered a lot of them. I've worried about before when I put, well, not worried about, but had concerns about when I put my officer positions on my resume, are there going to be people that are discriminating against me because it says LGBTQ this or that?
Yeah.
But I've made sure to kind of highlight that now, so that if they do have a problem, then we can then I don't have to worry about that. That's not an employer I'd want to work for, necessarily.
No, definitely, and I understand that. I think you have every right to think that, as you should. And it is a shame, though, unfortunately, the world we live in, where you have to actually consider that. Are you going to be judged by who you are as a human, just for what you've done to help a community? And something I'll always say too is that if you are unable to find something, you can always let me know, and I will reach out and ask some of those questions you might not be wanting to ask them over the phone. That's something that I can do for you as well. But I think it's great that you have that on your stuff already, because that's pure leadership right there, and it's the best kind of leadership in my opinion.
Awesome, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've got 2 questions.
Yes.
One, when is your hair coming back? Jeff and
Wait,
I definitely tease about this a lot. Okay, I love you,
Which wait,
brother. What did you
the
do?
thing of which hair? Do you mean this hair or this hair?
The beard. Both.
Oh, the
Kristen
beard.
says both.
So for those that haven't seen me recently, it was in the picture. It was a pretty good looking beard. But last night I was like, I'm feeling impulsive, so I just took it off, and I was like, I want a Wyatt Earp mustache. And it can
You
do a little
know,
twirl too, like a little villain twirl.
the
if I put some
mustache
wax in
looks
it.
good. The mustache looks good though.
Thank you. I
Not
appreciate
mad
that.
about it.
I'm not mad. Like it's a
Not mad about it.
Good job. Way to boost his confidence.
Slow clap for the beard. I mean, for the mustache, bro.
No, I
my
do like
second
do like the
question.
beard though too. Yeah.
Yeah. My second question has nothing to do with the first. It's actually about your references. So I know that you referenced the book. Do you remember the title of it? I forgot.
Yes, it's Your Queer Career by Riley Folds III.
Okay. And we have that available in our resource library if anybody's interested in looking at that later on.
And then I'm actually ordering that for our office as well here very soon. So if someone has it checked out through Danny, you can always come to me and we'll have a copy as well.
And there's another book that I highly recommend that I'll make sure that we get a few copies for your office as well. It's called Lavender Road to Success. Oh, hold on. Let me turn off this virtual video real quick so y'all can see. So it's called, The Lavender Road to Success, the career guide for the gay community. I will say, we talk a lot about gay versus queer community and everything. This is kind of a lump, sexual orientation, gender identity type book. So when they say gay in here, they're meaning the LGBTQ plus community. But in here, it talks about a lot of those things. And I know, Jeff, you and I talked beforehand how sometimes the book says, we don't recommend you coming out, or here are some things to consider when coming out.
Yeah.
This book, The Lavender Road to Success, was all the way like you should be out 100%. And it gave some really cool research behind that. And I will say this was written in 2003. So it's not like this is a new concept, but from 2003, this was written in a very open mind frame and a very like liberal standpoint, in the fact that it was the guy who wrote this, is in California, where there are a lot of laws that are protecting of the LGBTQ community. So that's also something to consider, is the region that you're looking for jobs at. So did you find that in any of your research, where, looking for something in a small town, Texas town versus a very large community?
Well, especially since we're all in Texas, we know what state Texas is, what color it is, and a lot of the views that come out of it. So if this really is important to you, you also have to consider the fact that you might have to move. You might actually have to leave your home state, or maybe you're here just for college. But there is a chance that you will have to leave, unfortunately. But at the same time, leaving is going to open it up for more possibilities for you. If you are unsuccessful in finding something that makes you truly happy, maybe you have found plenty of companies or businesses that are supportive of the LGBTQ community, but maybe it's not something you want to do, and you feel like it's not going to get you to where you need to be. Then you have to look elsewhere. And the same principles apply. Do your research, reach out to them, and just try your hardest. And remember to ask questions. And again, if you are afraid to ask some of those questions right now, if you are afraid to call an employer and talk to their human resources department, you can reach out to me specifically. And that's something I can help you with as well. I can reach out on your behalf. If you don't, I won't even use your name. I will ask those difficult questions for you if you're afraid to right now.
Thank you. And I'm going to put a quick plug in for my my presentation that's coming up either next week or the week after that. I'm going to be talking about, being a successful leader in your own skin, and being able to work through some of those microaggressions that you might hear, or some, inner dialogue that you might have that creates barriers to successful leadership. you know, we're going to be talking about this a lot, and really being able to work through some of those issues that come up, and being able to change policy. I'll talk about my you know, when I started my career, and they didn't have policy for transgender people, that was, you know, like we didn't have gender identity or gender expression built into the non-discrimination guide, and how I helped create some policy for Texas A&M. And I think that's all the way. I mean, when we talk about careers, and, you know, are you willing to take on that extra step of possibly working through some of that discrimination type problems that might arise, or not. I mean, when people are starting their careers off, most of the time you don't want to start, you know, with, I'm going to go in there guns ablaze and we're going to create some policy, because there's a lot of like real repercussions that can happen that way. Sometimes you have to make sure that you have the right type of level of leadership and support behind you. You know, really finding your allies can help you out through that type of stuff. So it's a quick plug for the next presentation that's going to come up. So.
That was a good plug.
Yeah. Anybody else have questions?
I have
So, oh yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. You're gonna get bombarded with questions right now, but I already decided I'm gonna make my own appointment. So, let me tell you, Jeff. I have been a MARB major since like starting here. I never changed my major. And I started working in the studio. I don't know if you know what that is, but it's a department in the library where we work with media and stuff like that. And I've always loved media since I was little. And so then I was like, okay, I'll merge the two loves. I'll do like underwater film thing.
Yep.
And then I realized I didn't like dive, so that wasn't gonna work. It's not that I'd be opposed to dive, but it just wasn't for me. And okay, so long story short, I'm now in the process of like, okay, I'm gonna graduate with this major, but this is not really like what I want to do. And I started looking into like film industry and stuff like that, specifically like in Austin, because I know like they're really artsy there, and that's really like the place to go in Texas right now if you're doing film and stuff. But I just need recommendations on like where to go, where to apply, what I can do with, because like me telling them like, oh, I was a MARB major, like they're gonna be like, what? Like, you know?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to work here? But like I have a lot of experience as far as doing like short films, and like I'm good, I know I'm good, but it's like I don't know how to convey that, and I don't know where to start looking. And also like I don't want to move too far, but I don't want to be stuck at home either.
Yeah.
And also Corona happened, so like is there even a film industry to exist anymore?
Yeah. Those are legitimate questions and concerns at the same time, because you're currently in a spot where you're getting a degree that you feel like you might not be using. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, I have 2 degrees that I don't use. I have 2 degrees in emergency management and homeland security.
Okay.
And I work in career services, but I found a way to utilize those, of course, within career services and admissions. But for you do have probably a little bit, and I'm going to be real, it could be a bumpy road for you. It's how far you want to go. And yeah, it could be you looking at going to school again, or with the experience you currently have, and hopefully this coronavirus will mosey on out in the near future. I can help you also even look for internships utilizing your experience. And that's where your resume is going to help get your foot in the door there, not your degree. But it's also going to show that you went to school full time while managing work and picking up something else, like media. So that's something that you can also consider doing before going into school again, is looking for internships to maybe where you can build off that. And I'm not sure, I'd have to do more research, of course, but actually kind of what Russell's saying here, underwater filming, I know you don't like diving, but if you were wanting to do, maybe try to incorporate that a little bit to where it could lead to other things.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about, Russell, was like BBC style nature documentaries. like things like that. Like I don't mind doing that, and I think that would be really cool avenue to dive into. No pun intended, but I don't know. Like I'm just so I don't know where to go. Like I feel like that's the smartest route to go, but it's not necessarily the easiest because like everybody and their mom wants to shoot for National Geographic. Like there's the competition is crazy. So it's like I don't know where to go.
No, definitely. And that's where career counseling comes into play. And what I would like, if you were in my office right now, what I would say is I think you should do a career assessment where you're going to answer very specific questions. They're going to be gut instinct questions, and it's going to tell you what you possibly favor more so than others. And here you might be thinking, it's like, what, this is like a BuzzFeed quiz. It's a bunch of bull. Like, it's nothing like a BuzzFeed quiz. This is not telling you what type of gravy you're going to be today. It's not that type of quiz. I took it myself personally to see what students are being asked, and the questions it asked me made me actually do gut instincts. I took this the first time when I was going to school at Arkansas Tech, and when I was a junior in 2009, I took it. It told me I needed to be a detective, and I was like, yeah, I want to be a cop. That was what I was going to school for with my degrees, but things changed, and I definitely didn't want to be a cop anymore. But I took it 3 months ago, and guess what number 5 was? Career counselor. That's what I am now. Everything else on there was counseling positions, whether it be mental health related, substance abuse, family stuff, you name it. But it guaranteed what I was doing was right. I'm in the right field. So maybe that's something you can consider too. And it's free, by the way, for you.
Definitely want to take.
All I would have you do is you'll send me an email expressing interest in that, and that we talked about it, and I can get that set up for you. But that could possibly open it up for you a little bit more, because before you make the big decision of going back to school already, of getting another degree, which will take a few more years to do, look and see what the other options are. And this kind of quiz can help open your mind up to other opportunities maybe you didn't even consider. And maybe during this time, you can start looking for possible internships, maybe other part-time jobs that can help with media. It's a lot, because your future is a big thing, and I'm sure you're somewhat. I'm always worried about my future too, even though I try to stay more focused on the present now. But who doesn't think about the future? You want to have maybe a little feeling of, I got this. It's going to work out okay. But that's where I come into play, and I'm more than happy to work with you even more on those questions.
Thank you. I will be using you a lot, so please don't get a note of me.
I'll be ready.
Okay.
All right, were there any other questions from anybody? Okay, so the last bit that I'll tell you before is, and I started out this presentation saying this, that I wish I had more, there are so many other things I want to go over with all of you. So with that being said, in the near future, I am actually going to be working on different workshops specifically for the LGBTQ community. And of course, right now, we're not on campus, and I've started drafting some different things that I can do for Facebook stuff, Instagram, social media content. But I want to work more specifically with the LGBTQ community, because there's so many other things besides those 3 topics that I covered that I think that you should look into. And also, while doing that, having workshops at the exact same time where we can work on your resumes, cover letters, CVs in the moment, right then and there. So just know that in the future, be on the lookout with our Facebook, Instagram, and emails. And as soon as those things start happening, we will advertise it, and we will have more. Because again, the more content, the better for all of you. I just want all of you to be happy. I want you all to find jobs when you graduate, before you graduate, after you graduate, and even when you get to say you're a former student at Texas A&M Galveston. I'm still going to be there for you. Ken Bailey's going to be there for you as well, Director of Career Services. So just because you leave school doesn't mean that we're not there. We're going to be in your pocket. This department's in your pocket for the rest of days, just so you know.
What is the Career Services handle for Instagram?
It's going to be, so for Instagram, it is TAMUG Career Services. It is still new. There are not many followers on it, because before there wasn't an Instagram account until I came on board. Now, of course, we do have Facebook. It's the exact same. And we do have quite a few followers on Facebook, But again, I know not everyone utilizes Facebook. As my nieces would say, Uncle Jeff, you're old. Nobody uses Facebook anymore. It's whatever. But that's their opinion. I'm not old. But no, seriously, check out our stuff. And I see, looks like some people are already starting to follow, which is great. But I am trying to get more content out there for everybody. And oh, thank you, Danny. This is my plug. This is Instagram. Hello. So what we post on our social media too, by the way, is not just upcoming events, but we are also posting scholarship opportunities, part-time employment. We're talking about, it could be a simple LinkedIn link that I'm sharing with you. So for example, when all of this coronavirus stuff started, I shared a link about, I think it was working from home, doing stuff from home, how to deal with it. But there's also going to be tips on job searching, building up your LinkedIn profile, anything and everything that is dealing with helping you find a job. But we're also sharing information from others on campus that, like for example, one of the most recent ones is, it's about Crowley Maritime. They have a couple of digital workshops coming up here soon. Before that, I believe I shared one for the Office of Student Enrollment Services that are right here. They're offering $3,000 a month. They've extended their ambassador program. A lot of the stuff that we're sharing with you is stuff that can help get you money or help your future with a possible career.
Awesome. Well,
All
thank
right.
you. We were kind of nervous with all this coronavirus stuff happening that we might not be able to do PRISM, or at least the way that we thought we could, but that was fantastic, and what a great way to start off this conference. So I'm really excited. And that was really, really helpful for me, and I know it was for the rest of our officers and everyone else who have chiming in. So I really appreciate you doing that.
Excellent. Well,
And
I
just
just want to say thank you for having me.
a
Yeah.
lot of us are
You
graduating.
were awesome. So
Exactly, like we're graduating and we're trying to figure out like what are we gonna do. Like I was already stressed about it, but now it's Corona happening, so now
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a little stressed about future and goals.
I also appreciate the fact that you normalized the fact of kids like graduating and doing something for 4 years and then not knowing. You know what I mean? Like being unsure.
Oh,
I
I'm
love
gonna tell
that
you right now,
normalization because that's hard.
I'm 32 and I don't know what's happening in my life most of the time.
Thank
That is
you.
life. Any
Yeah.
adult that tells you they've got their stuff together, no, they don't.
Yeah.
That's just life, because things change. Who you were at 18 to who you are now, maybe at 22, 23, you're different. Who I was at 18, I can tell you right now, I don't like that, Jeff, because I can be honest with you here. I grew up in a small town in Arkansas, and I was one of those ones that was under the impression that it was a choice within that community. I was wrong. And when I went to college, I started doing more research, and I made friends within that community, and it opened my eyes. And I changed. That changed who I am entirely, who I am today. I'm happier, and my future is different. I took different roads. You're going to take different roads. Many doors are going to become available to you as you get older and as you leave college. And it's going to lead you down a different path. And, it's okay to not know. I was completely fine just telling myself, you know what, I'm not going to work for FEMA. I'm not going to utilize my degrees. Those degrees still help me get a job, though. They help build my resume up, and it helped get me to where I am today. So I'm where I'm meant to be right now. I'm meant to be talking with all of you on my iPhone in my truck with that's my little side mirror light, by the way, right there. I'm meant to be talking to you guys right now. And again, it's okay. And if you ever feel confused about that, come to my office. I will reassure you that it's okay, and we can talk about it. It's no problem at all.
Oh, my heart. My poor graduating into the career self is screaming right now, honestly.
Exactly. Like, I'm gonna go cry.
My depression literally just did a cartwheel and was like, okay, maybe there's a chance. Okay, wait. So that's how I'm doing, by the way.
All right. Well, let's see here. Officers, are there any other announcements we need to make for tonight?
Think so. Thank you also, Sabrina. That was really fun makeup tutorial.
Yeah, you're hot.
No problem. I'm coming to see you. So
Yeah.
Congratulations to Autumn for our new president position.
Congratulations to everybody.
I know. Good
It's
job.
all the kids in Russell. It's all
And to
children
Garrett,
in
Show us the kid
Russell.
again.
Key position and Russell for your historian. Y'all have 2 Coles again. Good luck, Danny.
Oh my God, there's too cold.
No, listen. It's bad, but I think we can make it work.
You're piecing out, so
Listen, okay, I've been dealing with Garrett very intensively. You just have to train him. You just train him, and he's fine. He listens. He's great.
I'm really excited for next year. This is going to be good.
I don't know how that goes.
Let them have access to mirrors ever.
Oh
Never.
my
Or
God.
acorns. Tape their hands
acorns.
together.
Favorite.
God.
Okay, I am going to stop the recording on this. Okay.
Yeah.